Hello, welcome to Invictus Motors. My name is Bashir. We've got Stephen from Newcastle. He's actually bought this Porsche 911. This is the 997.2 turbo. And just going to ask, quite frankly, why the 911 turbo? What brings you to this?
Well, need something fast, need something convertible. That's the ticky boxes. Need something four-wheel drive because I live at the bottom of a big bank. Okay. Tick, 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 really.
I know you've had some pretty amazing special cars.
Yeah.
What sort of cars you've had?
I've had a GTS, 991 GTS, had that for a couple of years, and I've just come out of a McLaren 570 Spider.
Okay.
Which is
nice.
Unbelievable, but you don't really want to own one that's more than sort of 4-year-old, and it was coming up that age.
Okay.
And even though I didn't have any bother with it, but just time for a change. And so I can get the dogs in the back.
Yeah, no, cool. And I know you went through a little bit on this car with us because we replaced one of the turbos.
Yeah.
But what's the rest of your experience been like?
No, it's been spot on. Absolutely brilliant.
Thank you very much. But as a matter of fact, that car is due an MOT, so we might just test drive it to the MOT centre and beg them to do a very late MOT today. So let's get going. Thank you. So I mean, this is back to the 911. I mean, you've come off a 570 Spider, McLaren 570 Spider, and before that you had the McLaren 911, is it?
I had a 991 GTS. Which I loved. Sounded amazing. Okay. I just wasn't driving it.
Yeah. What made you want to buy the 911 997.2 turbo? Why this? I mean,
well, I was going to buy a 991 Turbo S.
Okay.
And I drove it. It was they're incredibly quick, just as fast as these, really. But I didn't have that. There wasn't so much of a sound to it. And I drove it back to back with the GTS and loved the naturally aspirated, the wheel of the engine on it. Changed down. I was like a race car. But in all fairness, I should have really went for the turbo because the performance of the GTS they're great, the natural aspirated ones, but they're not fantastic. They're not that quick. Whereas some like Turbo S, they blow your socks off.
Yeah. And I guess the kind of places you normally travel to go on holiday, you do like having a bit of a fast car, I assume.
Yeah. I do a lot of driving. I'm part of like a supercar club up in the northeast, and we do loads of driving out. We do like the Northumberland 250. Probably going to do the Northumberland, the Scottish 500 this year as well with them. So
this is your full-time hobby. I mean, you love getting involved in this hobby of yours.
Yeah, and I think something with this, it's a little bit older, but I can tinker with it. I hate the stereos in these. Absolutely despise them.
Please post me the old stereo back.
Yeah.
I mean,
I might actually. There's a chip you can put in these,
Yeah.
So you keep that the same, but it's got a booklet.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, I might have a little one of those,
If it's got the CD changer, I think you can chip this.
It's like a module that goes on them.
Yes, spot on.
But I don't think I'm going to put this through the Porsche dealership. But an independent in Newcastle is going to look after it for us.
Okay.
I'm going to do the exhaust, might map it. Who knows? We'll have a look. I mean, the sky's the limit with these sort of things.
The sky is the limit with these cars.
But I want something that's a little bit older. I can put my dogs in the back. I'm not that bothered about it.
Yeah.
It's still a Porsche turbo in it, but
correct.
I can leave it beside the shops where the McLaren you'd come back and there'd be just kids lying all over it and stuff, which I love, but it does get a bit on your tits after a while.
Yeah. That attention is not needed sometimes.
No. And I think the McLaren stuff at the moment, I don't know. I think if I was bought another McLaren, it would be a 720, and I just don't think the prices are right on them.
Well, it's too much.
Yeah. I think for a 4-year-old car, don't get us wrong, I think there are a lot of cars for the money. Yeah. I don't want to buy a 4-year-old McLaren.
The 570, I just sold a 570, it's 2016 570S, the coupe version, not the Spider.
Yeah, fabulous cars, amazing to drive on them.
£81,000, it's sold within 2 days.
Yeah, amazing. There's nothing drives like them.
Yeah.
They're so delicate, they're so precise where you want to put it on the road. You get so much feedback through them. And I think you get that with the 997s a bit more because they've got the hydraulic steering.
Yep.
The new Porsches, the electric ones, not as communicative as these are.
Correct. I mean, this still does have the hydraulic steering. You're spot on.
Yeah. I think the McLarens are a different level again, but to be honest with you, I just want something a bit more easier to run and look after.
I mean, what I liked about the 570 Spider, it's got a hardtop, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a convertible hardtop.
There's no trade-off, so there's no weight difference. If you're going to buy a McLaren, get a Spider, because they're so solid, you don't get this like you would on this. You don't have the extra weight. That's why if you're going to buy a McLaren, you always get a Spider because you pay a bit more money for them, but there's no negative to it. Yeah, it's worth it. And the sound, I mean, they're not particularly loud cars anyway. With the roof off, it's a lot better. Yeah, mate's just bought a 600 LT.
Wow. What did he pay for that? I mean,
about 160, 170.
Bloody hell.
A lot more money, but a lot more special car. I think in 10 years' time they'll be the one to buy. Because they're still a race car. They're like a GT3.
incredible. I mean, I was never a McLaren guy until we got that 517
drive
stock.
them, they get under your skin, like. But daft little things about them, like, I don't know, you've got to wake them up. You've always got to have them on the tether. If you jet wash the door handles, you're in a world of hurt because they stop working. All the windows
stop
go.
working.
Yeah, stuff like that. But once you get used to that, so if somebody had told us when I bought it, look, don't rush the doors, let the windows take the time to come down, then open them so you don't smash all the trim off.
Okay.
Which then you've got to replace the trim, they damaged all the roofs, all the roof had to be repaired. Daft things like that. If somebody had sat us down with it and said, look, do this. When you turn it on, give it a couple of, like, 10 seconds to wake up before you start it.
Yeah.
And you end up with loads less problems than you ever have. Keep it on its battery charger all the time. If the batteries get low on them, they're a nightmare. They just go daft. Stuff like that, I had a couple of niggles when I first got it. I thought, oh, this is going to be a pain. But after I got that, didn't have a day's bother with it. I tell you what, they're phenomenally quick, and that's the baby one.
Yeah, that's the baby one. That's the entry-level McLaren.
Yeah, I've driven a 720. The McLaren Lentas are 720, and they're just unworldly how fast. I mean, they are scarily quick.
But all of this goes to show what a phenomenal product Porsche makes.
Yeah.
You know, when you just think about the list of problems that you've got to go through with a McLaren.
I wouldn't be buying a 15-year-old McLaren, that's for sure. Unless it was an F1.
Yeah,
it's an F1.
But also the Porsches are so usable as a car.
Four-wheel drive. I mean, I took the McLaren out of the garage. We had a tiny bit of frost and snow where we live, and I got stuck at the end of the road. And it's just, I mean, all the neighbours had to push it back along the house and sort of get it back in the house. You know what I mean? You're thinking, oh, great. When my old GTS, I just didn't think about weather. It was like, if I wanted to go somewhere, I got in and I went. It's like, it sat on the drive under a pile of snow for 2 months. I got in and it started. McLaren, if you left it on the drive for a week, it would be flat. It's got them lightweight, whatever batteries, and I mean, I'm like 17.5 stone. What the hell do I need a lightweight battery for? You know what I mean?
No, I'm totally with you.
Cars, man. There's never the perfect car. Everything's a bit of this and a bit of that, innit? I mean, what do you drive? What's your favourite? Or
to be honest,
you're obviously a Porsche guy.
God, yeah. I mean, I love my Porsches. I had a 997.1, which I owned for a very long while. And it was a 3.6 litre, not the 3.8. I mean, I do like to push my cars, you know, to the limit. We'll do a left there. And that was probably the longest I've ever owned a car for. Otherwise, I mean, being in the trade where you get to see so many cars, drive so many cars, take cars away on holiday, you know, for 4 or 5 days. And each time you own a car, the next thing is better, and it's better, and it's better. And
that's the thing, like, you know.
And it's a bit hurtful because you truly never get to enjoy and appreciate something from a long-term point of view. Like, I'd be, if I had to leave my job and just live with your Bath 595, I'd happily live with that for the next 10 years.
It's a great little car. I mean, I mean, you can do everything you want in them.
Yeah, and obviously, I think from a long-term owner's point of view, for me, the ultimate car would be a 911 991 Turbo.
Yeah.
You know, the same shape as your GTS.
Yeah, they're nice. They're a good car.
That would be ultimately the car. But, you know, I love a Mercedes AMG GTS. You know, I've got one in stock, but, you know, I did 700 miles over 2 days in that.
Yeah.
I just drove it.
Sound phenomenal.
Yeah, just drove it non-stop, and they've got the perfect weight, you know, weight distribution.
Yeah.
I think it's like
my friend had
49, 51.
Yeah, my friend had Nigel Mansell's all about.
Yeah.
It had been his personal car, and it had had loads of money spent on it, and the engine and stuff, about 600 horsepower. Never had honestly, didn't have a day go by when it didn't break down.
We'll do a left here, by the way,
It was a nightmare. He must have had it about 3 months and he got rid of it. But God, you should have heard it. It sounded like thunder.
And it's just straight up ahead.
One of my pals has got an estate one, and he'll never sell it.
Yeah. But if I'm coming up for any car events up north, I will let you know.
Yeah, brilliant.